Hi everyone, and welcome to When the Heart Speaks. My name is Lela, and today our episode is called Man Up. So with me today, I have some special guests. I have Dido, Taty, and JP. Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I wanted to hear from you guys what it's like being a man, what it's like walking in your shoes, and what are the things that you guys go through that maybe we don't know about? What are some of your struggles?
I think personally, like, what it is to be a man is just wanting to follow in your father's footstep, you know. That's how I seen it. That's how we were raised. And in our culture, you know, once you have somebody to look up to, like in my case, you know, you look up to your parents or you look up to role models in a neighborhood or wherever it is, you try to emulate that person. And that's exactly what I would say, trying to be a man. So trying to be anything close to my father, who was trying to be close to his father, and so on and so on.
I mean, to add to that, I would say in regards to struggles, I think that for a lot of men, it's just trying to be yourself and at the same time conform to society's standards of being a man. So, you know, that becomes complicated because there's so many different ideas, so many different backgrounds and schools of thought. So, you know, it becomes really complicated in that sense. So trying to conform and be yourself at the same time, I think becomes a struggle for a lot of men. That's what I'd say, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll add a little bit to what JP said. I mean, it's definitely looking at, you know, your father or your grandfather or just any mentor that you personally had in your life that were able to obviously show you how it is to become a man. Or sometimes even trying to look into on TV or social media what is portrayed to be a man. But then at the same time too, basically me being raised in this particular family, a particular tribe, right? The struggle comes in the sense of you're not allowed to show any sort of weaknesses, right? And that's basically I'm saying that because when you show weaknesses, it kind of shows you're not stable, you're not able to hold the house, right? So for me, I can't show no sign of weakness, right? I always got to make sure I'm a provider to my family. I got to show that I'm also a great example and a great leader. So that's just the way I'm looking at it towards becoming a man. But at the same time too, it's always continually learning.
But when you say that are you looking for affirmation or confirmation from other people? Is that what you're looking for when you're saying that?
Not necessarily me looking for confirmation. For me, I feel like if I cannot provide, I cannot lead, right? Then I will feel like I'm not even close to becoming a man that I want to be, right? Because again, I know nowadays is different, right? A woman could do the same thing a man could do, right? But as a man, it's kind of it's just in me that I want to be the person that make the most money. I want to be the person that be like, you know what? Hold on, babe. I got this, right? Don't worry about this because it makes me happy. You know, not to say no, I will not obviously allow my woman to go ahead and do that, right? But that's just the way I'm looking at it. Maybe you guys have different perspective or different views on that.
I agree with what you're saying.
Right, and I think too, like the thing about men not being able to show weakness or struggling with showing weaknesses is that if you are struggling, what do you do? Because the reality is sometimes you may not have it all together. And I think when men have to be strong all the time, that's also a problem.
Right? That's true.
Yeah,
I would agree with that. I think that's also that's kind of the struggles I was also mentioning. So, you know, some men are different than others. So if you think that you have to be strong all the time, and that's not true, period. But you know, that can be a struggle because society tells you that a man always has to be strong, right? So but if that's not really you, then it's a problem.
Who puts the rules out to society? Like when you guys say society, do we look at is there a person that we compare ourselves to when we consider society?
It's just a general president? It's a social construct, you know, and we've somehow developed.
What I mean by that, for instance, a man in Africa is different than a man in Canada.
Right.
And it's mainly projected on the president, for instance. Yeah. You know, in Canada, men are more like Trudeau. In Africa, men are more dictators, more authoritarian.
Social constructs are different in different environments.
Fair enough.
So just to touch on what you were saying earlier about weaknesses, I just wanted to know more about men and their vulnerability. When was the last time you cried?
The last time I cried was actually at my wedding. Only saying that because, you know, you go through so much, right? Trying to prepare for the wedding, trying to pay this, working, continuously working, putting on these overtime hours and stuff. And to finally realize all the work that you have put in through is coming to reality, just seeing my wife walking in, for me, I just couldn't stop. I was overwhelmed, but I wasn't crying because I wanted to cry like a baby, but I was just a cry of joy. I was really happy to see her walking in and seeing how beautiful she was. For me personally, that's when I cried.
And I was there, I saw it, I saw the tears. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, what about you guys?
I'll go first. Last time I cried, I would say it was like an argument with my girlfriend or something. Because I never really cry when I'm sad. I always cry. Not always. I've only ever really cried when I was like really angry and couldn't get my words out. Okay. So that's what I can remember, being really angry and I couldn't really express what I was trying to say. And then just tears came down. And yeah, other than that, it's something that continuously trying to learn that it's okay to cry, but it's a difficult thing. It doesn't really come down my
It doesn't come naturally.
It doesn't really come naturally for me to cry. It's not really.
Is that because you're holding back, or?
No, it's just like it doesn't really come down, to be honest. It's not me. I don't know.
Nice. I mean, I wish I was like that. I mean, I cried. Last time I cried was at my father's funeral. And it was just, it's a mixture of, sadness with joy also, because, he's off in a better place now. But yeah, like I've never been shy or a person to hide his own emotions. I feel free with my emotions, and whatever happens in the moment is what happens. You can't control that. Yeah. So that's why I was kind of, that's why I asked you that question.
And I feel like a man that cries, it's like, again, everybody's different. I'm not trying to say for what you're saying, obviously. I feel like a man that cries, like, I wouldn't prospectively say he's a strong man, but it's another way of him just showing his emotion, right? Because he's letting everything out, right? Because again, a lot of time we like to hold things in. So then when you're letting that cry come out, it's like your relief. You're like, okay, you know what? I have let that thing that was in me, now it's out of me. So that's why I personally feel like that's when you'll see a man at this time that is just gonna let everything out and then start crying.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not gonna speak for all women, but I personally love seeing men cry. I think it's so amazing and it's so touching.
But it might be for the wrong reasons, though.
No,
exactly.
I think that like women like to see men cry.
Yeah.
Women are very like emotional, passionate, and all those kind of things. And they see a man who could do that. It's like, oh, okay, he's kind of like us.
Yeah,
it's like me.
Or they think that it's sexy, right?
Yeah, like,
it's like, oh my gosh, this man is crying. Like, wow, that's such amazing.
Especially if you're a hood man. Like, if you're a hood man and you cry, girls love that because they're like, oh, he's tough.
For me, honestly, like I've never really seen like growing up. There males in my family never really cried. I never really seen that. So it's not that like I'm trying to withhold that. It's just it's never really been part of who I am. And actually, I'm actually very weird around people who if seeing people cry makes me kind of weird. It's kind of weird for me. Like I see it's weird. So but
that makes sense.
I'm learning to get more in touch with my emotions, and I'm sure it'll come down someday.
Yeah.
Gotta watch some Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that you guys are older, what is something that you would tell your younger self?
I would say ask for help. Secondly, I would say seek emotional intelligence. Try to understand other people's feelings. What you say doesn't just go. People feel, you know what I'm saying? Try to understand where they're coming from, listen to them, and also try to continuously learn how to be a man. What you know isn't the end all and be all. Continuously seek knowledge about manhood.
Yeah, and I could definitely agree on what you're saying. And for me personally, I will add a little bit into it. I will add forgiveness, right? And you have to learn how to forgive other people. You got to understand the emotional connection as well. And the other thing would be, love yourself, right? You definitely have to love yourself. You don't need, someone else to tell you how good you are and what you're not good at, right? Because again, being a man, you got to learn a lot, right? So when you're learning how to forgive people and learning how to love yourself, I definitely think that you'll grow to become a better man.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Absolutely agree with that. I would add on to that, just say like patience and gratitude. I think that I would tell myself that, it's a long journey, to be patient and also to be grateful every step of the way.
Yeah.
That's what I would add.
Yeah. Gratitude is definitely key.
Yeah. It's, sometimes we're not grateful for the little things because we always see the bigger picture. And we skip out on opportunities that could have been a learning lesson for all of us. And like we said, life is all about learning. So it's important to be grateful and be patient.
Yeah, I mean, I think like life is also can be so unexpected and things can happen that you never thought would happen. And so having a good perspective, having a positive perspective is also
staying
really
positive.
important.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and like for me personally, if I was younger, I think I just really, similar to you, like I think self-love was something that I wish I knew when I was younger. And that's something that I would tell my younger self, to love yourself, you're gonna be okay.
Yeah, for sure. Because again, a lot of kids out there, right? Like again, I'm only seeing that for a little kid that's probably like in grade 8 or grade 9. Or we don't know what they're going through, right? They're being taught like they're ugly or they have a big head or something like that. And at the same time too, they go through some hard situation, right? And they're going through some pain. So by learning how to forgive other and also basically on what you're saying, those 2-3 things go align. And number 4, being patient. I mean, you can't have everything at once, right? The life is not a race, it's always a marathon. So those are the things that I definitely will make you a better man.
Absolutely. Yeah. But like, do you think that you would listen to yourself had you come up and ask it and give that?
Never. I would never listen to myself.
Oh.
I mean, only reason why I'm saying that again, it's like we could all go through this again. When you're a kid, they're telling you, don't go to the park. If you go to the park, something might happen to you. What are you gonna do? You're gonna go to the park. Exactly. Right. I feel like it's a learning curve, right? You consistently start to learn as you grow, and that's what I think.
I would listen to myself. I wish someone told me that when I was younger.
Yeah.
So maybe that's...
I mean, for the kids today, I would say that what you see is not always real. You know what I'm saying? If you're on the internet and all this stuff or whatever, or trying to conform to this standard of living or whatever, understand that it's not real. So, be yourself.
That's true.
So this concludes our show. Guys, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing your hearts with us on your perspective on life, on what it means to be a man. So if you guys want to see more videos like this, you can click the subscribe button. And until next time,
Bye-bye.
bye.
Peace.